And now I will invite the next panelist and Yunus Arikan to facilitate the next panel. Yunus is Director of Global Advocacy at ICLEI World Secretariat, and he has a long career with ICLEI anyway. So may I invite here Mayor of Olympia in USA, Cheryl Selby, and Juliette Ulos Alush, I'm sorry, I might not be able to pronounce it correctly, from the African Youth Initiative on Climate Change, from the Kenyan chapter, and Zipporah Nyenga, who is member of Yongo. So Yunus, the mic is yours.
The mic is with me. We also have our last speaker in the program, Deputy Mayor Isabella from Recife. I also would like to invite her because in our debate we will be also hearing from her. If you would also like to join us, we will be more than happy. So, first of all, it's really a pleasure to share the stage with such a diversity. I'm really happy. As you mentioned, I have been involved in ICLEI since 2009, but I have been impressed with the spirit of ICLEI almost since its birthplace. In 1990s, the capital city of my hometown, Ankara, was one of the 15 mayors who was the founder of ICLEI. And Karin as the leaders from the 2000s, I have listened once again this story. And now we have the future leaders, future presidents and the current presidents. I think that is an excellent combination of solidarity, but also share of experience and share of messages that our movement is growing. So allow me to have this discussion, and I'm very happy to have this opportunity. In the agenda, you may have seen an abbreviation, YUNGO. Let me, before giving the floor to our guests, to try to share with you what does it mean, because there are so many abbreviations in this space. I like YUNGO abbreviation, very nice, because it was a nice combination of youth and non-government organizations. And as Karin mentioned, this has a terminology that is in the United Nations efforts on sustainability, especially Rio conventions, especially climate conferences. We as local governments, because of our strength of Local Agenda 21, have been there since the beginning of this process. But youth were not immediately involved. So it was a direct example of how they have fought for their rights to speak at all levels, and they have created their constituency. And since 2000s, now they are actively participating in almost all UN processes. They have preparing their submissions, they have demonstrating in these rooms, and they have telling to the world decision makers how they have to combine their policies and how they could then transform into action, which is very similar to the spirit of local governments. So today's, in the next 20 minutes, we will hear, first of all, their representative, Julie, that she would be sharing the discussion, especially what we are also having a couple of times. There is frequently a terminology called greenwashing, but now they are using a new terminology, youth washing. So she will start to discuss about what are the things that they don't like, right? They don't think that it is exact interpretation of inclusiveness. We will then hear from Mayor of Olympia, Cheryl Selby. She will share how it could be a different form of integration. And then we will continue with Nezena about this time, maybe it's not just Olympia, but there will be more examples that we could be inspired. And in that sense, after her intervention, we will hear from Mayor Isabella about one of our prominent frontrunners on inclusiveness, especially youth and climate action. So she will share the experience of Recife. And I hope we will have time for one round of discussions as well. So let's start. We'd like to hear what is youth washing and why are you so much suffering of that?
Thank you so much. My name is Julie Tulwach and I am from Nairobi, Kenya. So first of all, I would like to state that youth washing is a way in which our voices are used in a performative way. And what do we mean by a performative way? This is whereby we are asked to speak, and the essence is just for PR, but our actions and our actual intentions are not put into consideration. And we also have a common terminology we call the greenwashing. And greenwashing is where we have companies parading themselves as being environmentally friendly, while in essence, their methods of production are not environmental friendly. And that is why our voices are youth, and that is why we feel that we are not being heard. And sometimes we are just being tokenized to say what people really want to hear. But what we are actually asking for is for world leaders, for governments, to give us actual seats in the decision-making process, right from the inception of ideas. Let us have our voices being there from the start during the planning process and carrying us on towards the end until the implementation of these projects.
Excellent. I think this message was very clear. So let's hear from Mayor Selby how they have experienced such an interesting feedback from their youth, how they have reacted. So Mayor Selby, would like to hear your experience from Olympia.
Thank you, and thank you to the hosts here for inviting Olympia, a town of 50,000 plus residents that's been very active in climate. We'd like to take a lot of pride in some of our actions, but back in 2018, as mayor, we have weekly meetings, and I facilitate the meetings. We offer a public comment to our residents at the beginning of every meeting. They have 3 minutes to address us. And so one night, I looked out and saw there's like this whole group of, looked about high school age students. And then I looked at the sign-up sheet that I get handed like 2 minutes before the meeting starts. I went, oh, we're going to hear from some students tonight. And so they proceeded to get up one after another and tell a story about how the city was potentially youth washing, greenwashing, all these different things. And, us council members are up there and just like, okay, here it comes. We're going to just bring it on. And, and then it culminated in the last speaker getting up there and responding to the youth climate report card that they had filled out on behalf of the city. And they were there to announce that we were going to receive their first grade, that they're, and it was a C-, right? And so we heard yesterday that to be effective, legislators, you need to have big ears and small mouths. Mm. So, yes, we have big ears, but we also have big egos, right? Elected officials, right? It's like, wait, we're not doing things perfect. Are you kidding me? And especially when we prided ourselves as a city that was very climate forward. So we just sat with that for a while. And after the meeting, we got a few of us together on the council and decided, okay, what's the plan? Who's going to be the contact person with this climate action group from our high school? And we started working with them. It's like, okay, what are we not hearing? What are we not doing that we, what are the gaps in where we are and where you are? And so the result of that was in 2019, they brought forward a climate inheritance resolution. And that I thought was a beautiful way to put it, in that they're inheriting all of my generation's mistakes. And so what am I going to do as a person in power to make that a better place for them? And so we signed that resolution in 2019, and it committed us to, I'm sorry, I lost my notes, so I didn't tell them this story. It committed us to achieve net zero for the entire city by 2040, which was more aggressive than what we were going to do. So it was a commitment. We were like, this is not going to be performative. We are going to make this happen as a city. And so with the help of ICLEI and also hiring our very first climate program manager, who's here with me today, those were our big steps. And youth have been involved in all of our climate discussions since then.
Excellent. I think that is also such a positive experience about listening and then acting. So we hope you would not count this experience as a greenwashing, but that's what the next speaker, Zipporah, if you can whether consider this as a good practice. Let's first, maybe we don't know whether they will have this next grade when, but at least maybe if you can give this grade from yourself, Mary can share with her students there, so that then you can share with us whether there are any good practices about practical implementation that really moves local governments to more active cases of direct and ambitious implementation, which we'll have more from Recife, but would like to hear from your experiences.
Okay, thank you. My name is Zipporah Jenga. I am from Kenya, and I'll start picking up from here. Okay, because you followed up on what the message the young people had, I will maybe give you a C+.
Well, getting better. They are tough, huh?
They're tough.
It's a trial, it's a beginning. They're doing something. And to pick up on what she said, in Africa we have the youngest population, and for a long time they have been doing something with participation. You get student college, you give them free food and transport, they come, sit in the audience, and then go home. So we're trying to move from participation to engagement. And I would like to thank ICLEI. We are here with my colleague. They actually funded everything for us to be here. So that is great. For ICLEI, I'll give them a B.
Good.
Thank you, ICLEI. The next example I would give, the African Union has a youth charter, which has a regional parliament and national parliaments. In Kenya, we have the National Youth Council, which is have moved a little from participation. I'll give them a C. We have a lot of now engagement in political, which is very key. Now we get to sit in parliament, not to incorporate policies, but give our ideas, our thoughts. The next one, Nigeria has the Nigerian Youth Council, and South Africa too. So I would say there are steps to move into the right direction. They are allowed to be done. So what you can do is education. Education is important, because if I didn't go to school, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have the language to even communicate our ideas. And I lost my nose too. Now funding, what ICLEI has done, and youth conferences, we get together a lot, the LCOIs and the COIs. When we submit our position papers and our technical papers, they should look into. Thank you.
Excellent. We'll come back to it in the next round, but thanks a lot for this highlighting the good practice. I think there are a lot of countries, not just in Africa, also in Europe and in the US, there is not still councils for youth engagement. So I think these are very, very good inspirational notes.
Yes.
So let's go to Latin America. We have Deputy Mayor Isabela Roldão. So she will speak about the experience on Recife, which we are very, very proud. I hope you would be generous as well to give her grades as good as possible. But Mayor, we were with you in Glasgow. We have the Mayor, Joao Campos, addressing the UN climate community. You were together with him. So let's hear your story about Recife.
Yes, hello. Hi, everyone. Good morning. Hi. I wrote something, because speaking English, it's hard for me, so I will try to do my best, okay? Please help me. I'm very happy to represent my beloved city of Recife here in Malmö, and to show the progress we have made in facing and adapting to climate change, so that we can build together a more sustainable planet. First of all, I would like to deeply thank the ICLEI for the invitation to participate in this World Congress, which has provided us with such a rich exchange of knowledge and experiences. After all, this is humanity's last chance to limit global warming and meet sustainable development goals. There is no plan B and no planet B. This is the only house we have, and we cannot continue in a process of self-destruction. As 70% of population, as 70% of pollution gas emission are in large urban centers, where almost 80% of the world's population lives. It is also in municipalities that many solutions are emerging to face climate change, even more so in Brazil, in a scenario of retrogression of the federal government in the climate agenda. It is the subnational government states and municipalities that set the example. In this sense, I want to highlight the role that the city of Recife has played in the last decade in partnership with the ICLEI since the administration of Mayor Geraldo Júlio, current president of the Regional Executive Committee in ICLEI. As one of the most vulnerable cities to climate change in the world, Recife has made tackling the climate crisis a priority. The city has been part of Urban LEDs since the first phase and is considered a reference within the project. In the current administration of Mayor João Campos, actions have been intensified to ensure compliance with the Sustainable Development Goals and Recife leading role in this agenda that is so essential for our present and our future. Periodically, since the base year 2012, Recife has updated its greenhouse gas emission inventory. The city was also the first capital in the country to declare, via municipal decree, recognition of the global climate emergency that threatens humanity. Climate emergency and sustainability are also already part of the curriculum of our municipal schools. Together with the ICLEI, we developed our local climate action plan with the goal of neutralizing greenhouse gas emission by 2050, based on 4 axes: mobility, sanitation, energy, and resilience. Guided by the plaque, our plan, we have developed actions such as the implementation of LED lighting through the city and the installation of a photovoltaic plant at our women's hospital. We have continuously increased our cycling routes and tactical urban plan spaces, in addition to exclusive routes for public transport. We also launched the Eco Recife program, which aims to eliminate the consumption of disposable plastic material in the municipal public service, in addition to establishing energy efficiency and water consumption reduction actions based on a low carbon policy based on the example of public authorities. Recife also has an urban agroecological plan, which encourages production spaces in areas of community organization, public equipments, and land, urban spaces, housing projects, riverbanks, surrounding of conservation units and households, prioritizing the implementation of vegetable gardens, orchids, production and supply of herbal medicines, productive backyards, agroforestry systems, and beekeeping. But it is in the most vulnerable and densely packed areas of the city where some of the most innovative and disruptive actions are taking place. This is the case of the Mais Vida nos Morros project, which includes several sustainable development objectives, including reducing inequalities, promoting sustainable cities and communities, and take action against global climate change. The Mais Vida nos Morros program is a public policy of innovation and urban resilience that reinvents the city and fights social spatial inequality, promotes sustainable development, community leadership, and the creation of a better urban space for everyone, especially children. Based on a sense of belonging and engagement, each community chooses its priorities and actively participates to put the project into practice. Actions include, for example, creating spaces for coexistence and encouraging children to play freely, using recycled material as street furniture, painting houses, and encouraging urban art. More than 50 communities and 54,000 people have already been served. The ICLEI program complements Mais Vida nos Morros, promoting the creative recycle of materials, environmental awareness, reduction of pollution by plastic materials and in rivers, canals, barriers, and other public spaces. It also aims to transform urban waste into an opportunity for entrepreneurship and income generation through a green, circular, and innovative economy. The Ecovida Palha de Arroz cooperative is one of the main examples of empowerment generated by the initiative. Formed only by women, the cooperative transforms recycled plastic into household items, which are sold at markets in the city. Promote gender equality, not coincidentally, the 50 Sustainable Development Goals and fundamental for sustainable urban development. Another structured project is the Capibaribe Park, which defines a new paradigm for life in Recife through the creation of a park city which provides a true rediscovery of the Capibaribe River. It is a system of parks integrated along the two banks of our main river in an extension of 30 kilometers with sidewalks, bike paths, walkways, and piers for small boats. The project revolutionizes the way people live in the city, reconnecting them with the waters of the rivers and restoring the watershed as the backbone of Recife through navigability and areas for leisure, rest, and well-being. Thank you.
I think...
I'm just finished, really.
Okay.
I'm just finished, I promise. All in line with the city's strategic development and the Recife 500-year plan, our city will be the first in Brazil to reach this mark in 2037. Our investment in building a sustainable, inclusive, plural, and resilient city is based on the certainty that the adoption of a green economy logic contributes not only to preservation of the environment, but also to the reduction of social inequalities and the generation of employment and income opportunities, reinforcing the government's commitment to current and future generation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Karin, I think we have 2 minutes for final comments, especially hearing these experiences, because what we have heard is there are lessons learned in terms of our mistakes, but also there are good practices, especially the combination of citizens, listening to citizens, power of council decisions to push local governments for climate emergency and public participatory processes. But what next? What will be the next step from Malmö Congress onwards? That's why I would like to start with Juliet and Zipporah, especially. You mentioned one terminology, COI, you said. I don't think any of us are aware of it. Let's remember, in Africa, in Egypt, this will be the time where the climate conferences will be hosted. There had been a huge proposals also in the decisions to have local decision-making and national decision-making to engage youth. And you have an experience of conference of the youth, not just at the climate conferences going everywhere in the world, but every city or at like selected cities. Maybe some of those experiences could also be inspired by other members in ICLEI who could be joining with you so that we can bring more concrete results to the next COP. Would you like to share some of those expectations, what you'd like to get out of it? Maybe we can have the last word to Mayor Shebel, how she could take some lessons forward that we could bring additional conclusions. So let's go forward.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I mentioned the Conference of Youth, and they just happened a week before COP. It's a get-together of young people. I get to discuss the climate issues that are affecting not just us, but the entire world. What I would like to say is, because as she said, we are inheriting the decisions the prior generations have made, and they have not been great. So going forward, we don't just want to inherit, we want to be involved right now in the decision-making processes, and that will be great.
And the COIs
Yes.
are, I think you're hosting in different cities.
Yes, I'm not sure where it's happening this year. I'm so sorry.
But we could follow up.
Yes, I'll follow up on that. And if you have a question, like on UVA, I am there. I will answer where it will be happening this year. They happen yearly.
So for those interested, during the next couple of months, we will continue with engaging with the constituencies, and there may be possibilities that we could help you to have this kind of meetings in our cities, in our member cities. For example, this year, Tirana is the European Youth Capital, and they will also be actively involved in ICLEI leadership. Recife, with their communities, they could also be using that their messages could come to COP. And we will also share with our pavilion, the multi-level action pavilion, where we can demonstrate the power of local action. So that will be, I think, a good, let's say, way forward from Malmö towards Sharm el-Sheikh and beyond. And so please stay tuned for updates from ICLEI regional offices and Yungo. Mayor Shelby, what is your take-home from Malmö to back to your city with youth engagement?
In 20 seconds, go. No, I just think that after that experience we had, we learned that we needed to involve the youth in all of our hiring decisions of our program managers, including our climate program manager. And so one of the panels that she met with included several youth. And so it was great for them to see and also meet her, because she's, again, under 35. And then she has started a program of internship with 2 of our local higher learning institutions. So she's got interns now that are paid. She makes sure that they get paid and that they have staff bandwidth to mentor to these young students that are going to, be part of the future of our climate planning. So it's kind of that part, and then kind of bring that circle. One of the interns is one of the students that testified to us back in 2018. So it's a great story of how to keep youth involved in city decisions.
So, there's never be ashamed of sharing your comments and voices to political level, because it's always open doors for you to move and make the change to make the change that you want to see, especially with this kind of, as Karin mentioned, democracy at the local level is the birthplace of sustainability and action. So, Karin, I think our session is closed. Would you like to add any point from yourself?
I have just one
Please.
secret advice for you. From my country, also the national government delegations always have a youth participant.
Okay, I'll
in
give you a
with
B.
them in the UN, in the Rio process, and in the climate meeting.
Definitely, that we will force.
Thanks. It was a great session.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, can we? Please.
No, it's for the youth.
Please, come, please. We are all young at heart, huh? Okay, I think.
Thank you.
Good. Thank you.
And now, if I may invite the